everyone, my name is Lara-Lyn and this is a very soothing yin yoga practice for heart and hips, two of the big emotional storage places in our physical bodies. This class was originally just for my online yoga students, but I decided to share it with you and everyone else as well because I think that this is a time where we could all do with a little bit of yin yoga and soothing for our heart and hips. Yin yoga is a really soft, gentle, passive stretching practice. So make a nice space for yourself, set up your yoga mat or just on a carpet, get some pillows, blankets, blocks, a cup of tea, whatever you need to make yourself really comfortable, and let's get started. And we're going to start with a little nervous system reset. So just resting your hands onto your knees. And we'll start with just taking the left ear towards the shoulder and just resting like this for a second. And then take your eyes to the top corner of your socket like you're trying to look up towards the ceiling. And then move your eyes into these little circles. It doesn't really matter which direction you go. Just move in a couple of little circles with the eyes. And then relax and come back to center. If you haven't done a lot of optical exercises or movements before, it's good to start very small. They can make you feel a little bit dizzy, but they are quite a necessary component. So let's go over to the other side. Ear towards the shoulder. Feeling that gentle stretch, then look with the eyes to the corner of the socket, a little bit up towards the ceiling. And then make those circles now in the opposite direction. If you can't remember which direction you did first, doesn't matter. And then relax, coming back to center. Oh, yeah, that really does the trick. So now we're going to lift the chin up towards the ceiling. And instead of making circles with the eyes, you're just going to hit the 4 points. You're going to go north, south, east, west. And you're just going to do 3 rounds of that. So stretching the chin up, look upwards with the eyes, then to the right, then down, then to the left, then up, right, down, left, up. And back to center. Really nice. Then we're going to do it again and we're just going to go in the other direction. Looking up and other direction. And relax. And now tucking the chin down, and we'll start with looking with the eyes down and then going again to the 4 points. Down, right, up, left, down, right, up, left, down, right, up, left. Relax. One more time, going in the opposite direction. Down. And relax. So it's normal for your vision to take a little bit of time to focus again after those exercises. They're really important because actually the eyes are one of the things that send a signal to the brain. And with an incomplete signal, that can often tell the brain, hey, something is wrong, I don't feel safe, I can't see properly. And we're not very good at using our eyes in all of these crazy directions. We basically just sit right in front of a computer or with a cell phone. So these little optical exercises can certainly help. Nice, let's get into the juicy yin stuff. So I have a really nice long pillow, but you can use whatever pillow you like, and you can also use your blocks if you prefer. So I'm going to use the pillow lengthwise so that I'm supporting quite a lot of my spine. So the whole spine is supported. If you have a different one that you prefer, like if you just prefer one block underneath the upper back, you're welcome to tweak this to your liking. If you've been sitting a lot throughout the day and you've had a lot of lower back pain, you could just put the pillow underneath your lower back. We're going to take a couple of nice deep breaths here to inhale into the heart space and relax. Sometimes feels nice to start our practice with some exhales through the mouth. So let's go ahead and inhale through the nose and out through the mouth in whichever way you prefer. It can be like blowing through a straw, can be like a sigh, can be like a hum. Whatever you like, just really trying to honor the space that we're creating for ourselves on a physical, mental, and emotional level. Breathing into the heart space and exhaling that tension and stress. Inhale surrender and serenity. So we'll go and deepen this pose a little bit in terms of loosening up the chest and shoulders, taking the elbows either a little bit higher until the point where maybe they don't want to reach the floor anymore and then relaxing there, or even taking them all the way overhead and holding onto the elbows. And depending on what you have under your back, a block or maybe pillow under the lower back, your arms may be slightly suspended, like they're just hanging in space, and provided that that feels still nice and enjoyable in the body, that's totally okay. If you have any kind of pinching sensation in the shoulders, you could just go to sort of gripping onto the wrists, or again, you could come slightly more back to that cactus position. And feel this inviting some opening also around the ribs on the side, a little bit more space for your lungs. Especially in a time when breathing is really at the forefront of our minds, as we realize what a beautiful and valuable thing it is to just be able to breathe and breathe easily and breathe deeply and full when so many people are struggling with breathing. It's a really nice thing to do, is to just come to a place where all you honor is your breath. Remember that you can go days without food, days without water, but you can only go a few minutes without breathing. Breathing really is our primary way of taking in life force. And then we'll slowly relax the arms a little bit more towards the sides. Bring the knees towards each other, and then you can straighten out the legs, just relaxing the hips. And then maybe bending the knees again, just to remove your blocks and pillows from underneath there. Coming to lie back down on a neutral spine with your knees bent. Have your feet slightly wider together and then lean the knees together. This is just a really nice relaxing position for the legs. And at the same time, we have the lower back nicely settled. We're going to bring our hands onto our belly. And we're going to take a couple of deep belly breaths. really sending the air down, and imagine you're inflating a balloon in your belly. Just doing 3 or 4 of these very aware and conscious belly breaths. And stretch the arms out to the sides. Bring the knees up. Just rock the hips a little from side to side, massaging the lower back into the floor or the mat or the carpet, whatever you're on. And then cross your right shin over your left thigh. And depending on how tight you are, this might already be enough of a stretch for you. If you'd like to move in a little bit deeper, you can reach your right hand into the little gap, your left hand around the side, and hold on behind your thigh, gently drawing your legs a little closer towards your chest. If you're pretty tight and it feels like this is uncomfortable for your neck or your head because you're kind of elevated, it's a really good idea to use a pillow or whatever props you like to support your practice. Remember that your yin practice is meant to be very relaxing. So there are some challenges, of course, in the stretching that we feel. But in this case, we really don't want the neck or the shoulders to be stressed. So go ahead and support yourself. And gently draw the legs towards you. If the stretch is a little bit easier for you and you're not getting much of a sensation here, you can re-grip your hands on top of the shin to deepen the sensation a little bit, especially after you've been in the stretch maybe for 30 seconds and you feel the body is really receptive and soft. As much as possible, keep your breaths slow and consistent. If your mind has the tendency to wander off, either keep it really present with your breaths or even keep rotating your mind around the sensation you feel in the body. If it's possible, do a little bit of both of these so your breaths are very aware, but you're also staying very present with the feelings. Maybe just on a physical level, also emotionally, especially when we work with the hips or the chest. You may feel things rise to the surface. Just stay present. Let's take about 3 more deep breaths here. Slowly release your left foot back down to the mat and just let your right knee cross over the left knee. So you have a little bit more like this lady sit. Then we're going to guide the knees over towards the left side as we stretch the right arm out. The feet should comfortably come down. And if the knees don't comfortably rest, you can again support with a block or a pillow underneath the knees. Or if it feels okay to just let them suspend in space, you can just stay like that. We'll do the stretch in 2 parts, starting here. Feel how this pose also opens the back of the hips as well as creating this gentle spinal twist. And then also how reaching your right arm out to the side can offer a little bit of length over the chest, stretching into the arm, as well as into your neck as you gently turn your head over to the right side. Notice how your exhales can help you to surrender into the posture. So if you're quite happy here, you can just stay like this. But if you feel that the body has begun to soften and there's a little more room for a deeper stretch, your leg that's at the bottom, that's your left foot, you can see if it will slide behind you enough for you to hold onto it with your right hand. And then there'll be a little bit more space for your right knee to drop down. This is called cat pulling its tail. If it feels like holding onto the foot doesn't serve you and is just making the pose uncomfortable, then you can go ahead and release it. Maybe it slides a little away from you, that's totally okay. And possibly the left hand gently weighing down the other knee. Aside from the hands gently assisting this pose, do try to become passive and soft. Taking 2 more really aware and conscious breaths here. You can slowly release your foot and gently bring yourself back onto your back with the knees gently tucked towards your chest. Instead of pulling the knees towards you, just see if you can rest with your hands gently on your knees. This is our recoil pose. So we want to feel as things are changing and shifting in the areas that have been stretching. So try to come to a still state, a nice restful state. Try to zoom in on even the finest feelings, like I even get a slight feeling of warmth under the sole of my left foot, probably as a little bit of extra blood flow is returning. I get a little bit of this kind of recoiling from the tissues, shrugging back. It's really nice to honor the in-between spaces as well. And then we'll slowly release our feet back down to the floor. We're moving to our reclined pigeon pose on the other side. Left ankle area or shin area over the right thigh. So why I say shin instead of just ankle is because if we just have the ankle there, we may actually stretch a bit the ankle joint. And actually we're looking to target a little bit more of the outer hip, so you can slide more of the lower shin bone over the thigh. Drawing up, I'm a big fan of starting really easy, even if you're very flexible. Always start with the really mild entry, and you can just see how the body is feeling. Even if you do like to go into deeper poses, I recommend just going there slowly. So if you feel the body is receptive, inviting you to go deeper, you can interlace the hands over the shin. Remaining really present with how you're feeling. Rotating your consciousness around the physical feelings of the pose, the kinds of thoughts that might come up. The kinds of emotions that bubble to the surface. Without the desire to attach good or bad to anything or to try to push anything away, you're simply observing your inner workings. Notice also as things shift and change. Notice the sensation of the stretch or the challenge physically might be moving, subsiding, intensifying. Also notice if thoughts or emotions come up, what happens to your breathing? Do you automatically reset into shallow breaths? Just observe with equanimity. And we're slowly releasing our hands. Bring the right foot back onto the mat. You may already notice a nice wave of sensations going through the legs. And then slide the knees on top of each other like a little cross-legged sit. And gently let the knees fall over to the right as you stretch the left arm over to the left and turn your head over to the left as well. And if you'd like to remain in this stretch as it is, you can do so. If you feel the body is receptive to going deeper, slide your bottom leg, which is your right leg, towards behind you, maybe until you can hold on to it with your left hand. And you can either stay weighing down the top knee, or you can relax that hand. In your yin practice, don't become too obsessed with perfection or alignment. This is not really a pose about change. These poses are about being. These poses are just about feeling and observing. If you need to slightly adjust or modify a pose to make it more accessible or comfortable, or even slightly deeper, then you can do that. Taking 3 more slow breaths here. And slowly releasing your back foot. Roll gently back onto your back. And again, with your knees loosely held towards your chest, or if it feels more comfortable for you to place the feet down, just remain in stillness for a moment. Just feel the changing and the shifting. We'll very gently bring ourselves up to sitting. And I recommend using a pillow to assist your caterpillar pose. The pillow can really be propped up underneath the knees to give the knees a really nice support so that they can stay comfortably bent. And we're really thinking about opening up the back side of the heart. So we often think of the heart in the front side, and that's quite normal and natural. But we can also think about the body really much more three-dimensionally and really thinking about opening the heart in the back. So instead of thinking about that this is about getting to your feet or folding forward, it's really nice to think rather about opening the back. So we're going to cross the arms at the elbow point. And then maybe you're able to hold on to your thumb or interlace the hands, really depending on you, but crossing the elbows is enough. And then folding forward and really stretching the shoulder blades apart. If it makes it more accessible to widen the feet or let them flop to the sides, that's totally fine. Just focusing more here on the upper back. Maybe a little bit of the neck as well. Breathing into your back body, really send your breaths into the back of the lungs. I'll slowly curl to the top, simply to change the arms. So I had my left arm at the top. I'm going to gently unravel, just switch the arms. And then again, folding forward. Each pose really has so much to illuminate for us, where we're hiding or holding tension, or when we start to target that area, what our breathing becomes like, what our thoughts and emotions become like. And the more that we're just consciously observing it, the more we release not only the physical body, but also the attachment to the mental and emotional maybe memories or muscle memory associated with them. And it's not something that you need to decipher. It's not something that you need to sit and think about, like why and where does that come from and what happened in my past. Avoid trying to create too much attachment or aversion to anything. Just observe it with equanimity, with total acceptance, total compassion. And we'll very slowly uncurl our way back to the top again, releasing the arms. If you can, just remain seated in a more or less upright position for a moment. Feeling that shifting and recoiling. And then we'll slowly bring ourselves onto our belly. Coming to Sphinx pose. With the elbows gently underneath the shoulders. So the elbows are what's supporting you and keeping your head lifted and elevated. Let's go ahead and release a little bit through the neck. So tuck your chin a little towards your chest so you feel the back of the neck lengthened. And then from here, take your right ear towards your right shoulder. So your face is facing downwards towards the floor. Right ear to right shoulder, a little stretch over the left part of the neck. And then over gently to the other side. Left ear to left shoulder. And come back to the center and just let the head hang. Try to keep the chest a little elevated, just using the support of the elbows, and let the face hang forward. And really rotate your consciousness around the back of the neck, those small little vertebrae that are often so folded when we're hunched in a chair and looking at a computer, or in our cars, or in front of the TV. And slowly lifting the head back to center. After stretching the neck, it's normal to feel a little bit of that tension releasing. Slide the elbows outwards, make a pillow with your hands, and just rest your head onto your hands. Slowly slide your hands underneath your shoulders and push yourself up into child's pose. You can just take a moment to soften the lower back from Sphinx that we were just in. Maybe gently rocking or rolling from side to side. If you prefer to remain still, that's also okay. And we'll move from here into a really nice heart-opening posture. This is called Anahatasana, and it can be pretty challenging for your shoulders as well as your back. So go nice and slow. There are some options here to make this a little bit easier for the shoulders. One is to widen the hands out apart from each other. That can make it easier. Or even to have the thumbs pointing upwards, so you're on the outer edge of the hand. So we want to slide ourselves forward until the hips are more or less above the knees. And then slowly sink either the forehead or the chin or the chest down towards the floor. There's also an option here to use a pillow underneath your belly so that you can possibly rest your chest and still have a little bit of space for your throat. I highly recommend this one. It just makes this pose a little bit more accessible. So my chest is touching the pillow, but my head is free. Remember to always modify these poses to accommodate you. If there's something you feel like, oh, if I just do this, that makes it a bit easier, that's totally fine. Just honoring your body in this practice. Breathe into your heart space here for about 3 more breaths. So before you come out of this pose, you can listen a little bit to what might be the easiest way to come out. For some people, it's going to feel easiest to back out by walking their elbows backwards. Some people are going to feel it's easier to go forward towards their elbows. And some people still will feel it's easier to just slide their legs back and end up on their belly. Whichever one of these exits works for you, you can exit and then slowly come to a child's pose and relax. We're moving from here into a pigeon pose. So if you'll notice, we've moved a lot hips and heart, just moving through these two places. These are the places of real deep emotional release. So taking your right leg to the front, knee towards the same wrist, and then opening the foot out to the side a little bit, and then sliding into pigeon pose. Here again, you're welcome to use props to support you, either placing a pillow underneath your right butt cheek so that you've got a little bit of support to stay centered, or if it feels nicer for you, you can have the pillow underneath your arms and head and just relax yourself down into the sleeping swan. Be kind to your body here. If you feel anything uncomfortable in your knee, you can either just go back out and stretch out the knee and then try to compress the knee again before opening it to the side. That can often help. Or if this just doesn't feel accessible to you, you are welcome to lie on your back and come back into this version, and maybe you'll see that there's a little bit of extra space that you can just go deeper. You're welcome to do this reclined pigeon anytime that the teacher suggests this pigeon and it's inaccessible to you, or it gives you pain in your knees or pain anywhere really. Pain is an indicator that we have gone too far or something is not quite right. And we really need to honor and listen to our bodies. That's why I really do enjoy the yin at home, although I cannot be in person with you guys. I do enjoy the fact that I know you're at home and you probably feel much more comfortable in your space to modify or adjust as you need to. And there's no people around you to compare to. There's no pressure. You can just be with yourself, with your body. Wonderful. Let's start to slowly lift the chest. Just push into your hands and slide slowly back into a table pose. And then slowly move into the other side. The nice thing about Pigeon is that the side that was compressed is now extended behind you, so you have the opportunity to move into the next pose, and at the same time, maybe still feeling the recoiling and the releasing effects over the extended leg behind you. Again, you may feel the flush of oxygen, warm or cool feelings, tingling. Maybe that very subtle shrugging of the tissue. And we're very slowly walking your hands back up. Gently slide your front leg to the back again. And this time we'll lie all the way down again so that we can find that openness and extend the leg that was compressed in front of us. And so from here we'll come to rolling on our backs. And this is another pose that I recommend you have a pillow for. I find that the pillow underneath the head and shoulders again can make the banana pose a little bit more comfortable. So for your banana pose, of course, we're trying to make ourselves look like a banana from the top down. So let's start by opening the left side body. We slide our legs over to the right side. You'll notice that the outside leg wants to keep kind of sliding back, so you can pin it in place with the other foot. It doesn't matter which one you decide to put on top, Everybody's anatomically a little bit different. For me, this one makes it feel like I break the outside line, but I know many people enjoy that version more. Doesn't matter, take the version that suits you. Feel the opening of the hips. Then we slide the upper body over as well to the right side. And you can, if you'd like, to take the arms up overhead or hold onto your left wrist with your right hand. And now we feel that stretch continuing up the upper body. So I'll shift to a slightly different angle that might make it a little bit easier to see. Legs over to the right. And then the upper body and shoulders over to the right. And at the same time, the hips are pushing to the left. So this is a really nice hip and heart-centered pose, as you can feel the opening over the outer part of the left hip, as well as the side body over the ribs around the armpits. And again, we're thinking about the body in more dimensions than just forward and backwards, but we also think about really opening that side space. And we're slowly releasing. We're just moving ourselves into a little mini Savasana. So just slide the left foot out to the left side. Return the arms down to the sides. Feel that whole outer line on the outside of your left side body. And then we'll move over to the other side. So again, we're sliding the legs this time over to the left. And if this is comfortable and you don't mind that leg sliding a little bit back, you could just stay like this. Otherwise, pin the leg in place and then upper body shifts as well. Right hip pushing out. Keep the shoulders and the hips on the floor so you don't want them peeling up, so that you should still be lying on your back. One side body is shortened and the right side body is stretching. 3 more long, slow breaths. Slowly release yourself out of the pose. Again, just a little mini Savasana to feel the effects. One gentle hug of the knees towards the chest. Really pushing downwards with the knees, so not so much pulling up the tailbone and rounding, but really pushing down and grounding the low back. And then if you'd like a little extra stretch, you can lift your head up to meet your knees. Really opening the backside of the spine. And we're ready to release into Shavasana. I recommend taking a pillow and placing it underneath your knees. This can just be a very, very nice and comforting pose for the whole back and spine, for the body in general. Just really nice and gentle. Let the feet flop heavy to the sides, the palms of the hands facing up. Gently shoulder shimmy your shoulder blades a little bit towards each other underneath you so that you feel the heart and the chest open. Maybe just roll your head once or twice from side to side. Make sure it's nice and relaxed. Open and close your jaw. Make sure you're not clenching your teeth. Soften your eyes. If you have something like an eye pillow at home, or just a scarf or something you can put over your face to keep your eyes relaxed. And come once more into these really aware breaths. Let's breathe deeply into the belly. Just feel your whole back body melting into the mat, spreading out. Feel your front body very light and free. Feel the bones resting, the muscles soft and tender. Even your skin soft and slack. Really resting and relaxing the feet, the legs, the hips, softening the hands, the arms, and the shoulders. Resting and softening your whole spine, your neck, and your head. Soften your face, the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks and the jaw. Your mouth and even the tongue inside of your mouth. soft and relaxed. Soften your chest and your heart. Breathe into your heart space. Slowly and gently start to bring your mind back to wakefulness. And take a moment, still lying here in stillness, to shower your body with love and gratitude, especially feeling into the heart and the lungs. Really ignite that space of gratitude from within you. Let it grow like a bright light, permeating all your cells. And really soak it up, saturate yourself with this beautiful gratitude light. And with all that gratitude, start to gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Very gently roll your head from side to side. Stretch your arms and legs. And then curl into a little ball on your right hand side. And using your left hand to gently help push you up to sitting. So I thank you guys so much for joining me for such a lovely, soothing yin practice. I hope that this has helped you to reset your nervous system a little bit. Just bring yourself back into a nice calm space where you can rest, digest. I hope that sets the tone for the rest of your evening and also for your weekend ahead. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Take care of yourselves. Namaste.